Hey there, thanks so much for pressing play. Today I want to talk to you about excuses and commitment. I had an interesting experience over the weekend and had an interaction with somebody, and I wanted to share with you what has been going on in my life, because I recognize that here we are, we're at the beginning of the year, and already you've likely encountered things in your life that have been holding you back, that you are using as an excuse, you're using as a crutch to not take action. And so, toward the end of 2015, Amy and I sat down and we looked at 2016 and what our goals were. And I am very, very, very committed to getting $25,000 a month in passive income in my life, because that would be a number that would more than allow us to live comfortably indefinitely. And so I just knew that's my one thing when it comes to this podcast. I need to get my business to $25,000 a month in reoccurring passive income. And I realized that to do this, I was going to have to hire a coach. I didn't know how to get there myself. I needed to make the investment in a coach who had already done it, who could show me the path along the way. And so Amy and I talked about this, and here we are. We're about to have a baby. Like literally, as I record this, I've got my phone on ring because water could pop and I could stop this and have to run to the hospital. That's where we are. We talked about this and looked at what was the time investment going to be that would be required to make this happen. And she ultimately said, hey, don't you think that maybe we want to wait till after the baby's here and after we get a little bit settled to make the investment, and so for you to dedicate your time to this? And I said, it's probably the right idea. And then I had a conversation with a mentor who holds me accountable. And he asked me a series of questions that at first actually offended me, but then ultimately opened my eyes. And he looked at me and said, Jeff, what would the quality of your life look like if all of a sudden you had that $25,000 in reoccurring revenue? How would you feel? What would change? What would you do with it? And I was, my mind started going and I was able to articulate it, and I got so excited. And for you, how would the quality of your life change if all of a sudden you had that big goal that you wanted in your life? If you were making the kind of money you were able to make, or if you were able to quit that job and be spending every day doing something you were truly passionate about, or if you were finally in the shape that you wanted to be, or if you finally had the relationships that you wanted, how would your life look differently? And then he asked me something that ultimately really upset me. And he said, are you using this child as an excuse? And at first I was ready to give him the bird. And he said, now hear me out. How many hours a week would it take for you to invest in making this happen? And I thought, probably 4 or 5 hours. And he said, okay, so an hour a week during the work week only. Are you telling me that you physically cannot spend and invest 1 hour a day during the work week to make this happen? Or if you physically can't even, if you do not have enough hours in the day, if you're at that point in time, are you telling me that you can't use this baby as an ultimate motivation to become that much more efficient with your time? Are you telling me that you have zero waste in your time? You are 100% efficient? You waste no time at all? You're telling me you can't carve 1 hour a day out to make the investment in yourself, to secure your future, to bring everything that you just described to me into reality? You can't do that? In that moment, I realized something. He was right. So often, there are things in our lives that on the surface, on a conscious level, we feel like it's impossible. We can't do it. There's just not enough time. I won't be getting enough sleep. I need to be focusing on the family. At the same time, I still know I'm going to clock in every single day. Well, I don't clock in. That's not accurate. I still know I'm going to the office every day. I still know I'm going to need to work. I've got to pay the bills somehow. I was using the baby as an excuse. And so here's what he told me, and this is what I'll share with you. If there's something in your life that you are holding back or using as an excuse, in my case, the baby, and I'm thinking, should I delay this for a certain number of months? Number one, go through that. Can you really not afford the time? Do you really not have the time? Or are you just using it as an excuse? If so, double down and commit now. And if you really cannot do it right now, build in some form of accountability. If you've been considering working with a coach and you just know that right now you physically cannot do it for the next 3 months, then make a deposit with that coach, a non-refundable deposit, and saying, I will start working with you on this date. And put your money where your mouth is. You don't have to fund the whole thing, but build some accountability in. Maybe it's not even putting money down. Maybe you're just going to a person that you know that when you tell them you're going to do something, they're going to hold you accountable. You're saying, hey, I need your help. I need you to hold me accountable to getting this done. But here we are. We're still at the beginning of the year, but I'm already interacting with people who have excuses why they can't do something. Which, if that's you, like, I get it. I'm that way too. I had excuses as well. We're human. That's what we do. We make things up. But here's the difference, and this is where the coaching is. Don't allow the excuse to hold you back. Make it happen. And if you're not sure how to make it happen, ask someone who would know how to make it happen and ask them for help. And build the accountability in. This is the difference between those of you who at the end of this year will be talking, will be high-fiving each other because we accomplished our goals, and the rest of you who are going to be sitting on December 31st thinking about your New Year's resolutions, realizing it's the same thing that you have committed to over and over again. Stop doing what isn't working and start doing what's working for others. This is what has worked for me. This is what's worked for my mentors. This is why I share it with you. So with that, I wish you an awesome day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you.